This is Zariah Ben Yasharallah out of the Lion's Den. First and foremost, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makar, Kodash, Ma'amath. A double honor to the elders and apostles, our great millstone, and a sincere the water to the Akim and Aquathim and the children that's pushing the truth with sincerity. I want to touch on this topic because I've been seeing a lot of videos on social media, and it's a lot of Jake Hotep, Egyptology people, and there's a lot of African people and all that other pagan shit. They say that the Jake who is here in America, that the whole transatlantic slave trade didn't happen. They don't believe it, and they're pushing that they're trying to push that philosophy and that delusion onto the rest of Jake. And they say that all Jake here in America are Native Americans, which you have of course you have a large portion of Jake here that might not look like what we think a Native American, a Gadite, will look like. But a lot of the Gadites were dark skinned, like a regular looking Jake. But to say that there was no Jakes, that there was no transatlantic slave trade is just complete and utter foolishness. And in saying that, I'm gonna get Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Con. And as we know, that's a prophecy that speaks about how we got over here into America. All right. And that word Egypt means, bondage, to be held. All right. And where it says no man shall buy you, that means no man shall save you. And the only person that's going to save us is Yahweh Shai. And so I'm going to my next scripture. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 15. It says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. And so during 70 AD, when Rome was conquering, and they were putting hell on us as Israel, and so Yahweh told us to flee into the mountains, into what that time that was called Canaan, but flee into Africa. And that's how we got into the western shores of Africa, because we fled as far as we could. And if you flee as far as you could without touching water, you're going to go into the western coast of Africa, which is where they picked up majority of Israel. All right, and these whacked out Jakes are talking about, 2/3 Jakes is talking about that there was no transatlantic slave trade, that there was no ships going to and fro from America to Africa, to America from America to Africa, and to and fro. So my words messed up. I'm gonna go to go to my next scripture that talks about the coming together of all of Israel. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 13 verse 40. All right. It says, those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoners out of their own land. So there was 2 tribes all the tribes fled out of Israel. 2 tribes fled into the western shores of Africa. All right, and then the other 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Solomonzar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so they came into another land. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their own that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsrith. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now, when they shall begin to come, Salakia, so they had to travel a year and a half, and so if they left out of the Euphrates River, that means that they traveled under Africa. They went south past Madagascar and everything, and then they landed in what we know today as South America or Brazil, and then they migrated upwards. All right, and right there, Salakia, kept in lone land. All right, in verse 41, where it says, "But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country which never mankind dwelt," which we know that to be Americas. The only recorded people here in Americas are the Gadites, all right, and the Ephraim and the Ephraimites, all right, the Issacharites. All those people are the only people over here on this landmass, all right. And it's spoken of here in the scriptures, whatever Yahweh Shem Yahushua says, it does not go void. It was prophesied that this was going to happen, and it happened. And now we're back over here in America again today, and we're being built up, stone by stone, man by man, woman by woman, child by child, being built into a temple, a tabernacle. This is Ezekiel chapter 37. I'm going to go to verse 16. It says, "Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it, for Judah and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it, for Joseph the stick of Ephraim, for all the house of Israel his companions. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these?" And verse 19, "Say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand." I'm gonna highlight that. And that's what's happening over here in America right now. We are one stick right now. All right, that's why we have the signs out there to show that Israel is is one nation made of 12 tribes. All right, we're all one people with just different. We're all one tribe, but each little tribe's in mixed in there. All right, so we're not every so-called black face that you see here in America, they're not Native Americans. There might be of course there's confusion of face. You might have a so-called white person and their lineage might goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or they themselves might be a Gadite. All right, the transatlantic slave trade did happen because there's so much recorded history about it, and also Yahweh Shem Yahushua said it was going to happen because it was a curse put onto our people for going against his law, statutes, and commandments, and that's the ultimate proof within itself right there. So I just wanted to bring that out. I pray this was edifying, and shalom.